So hello and good morning. My name is Steve Pugh. It is Friday the 14th of July 2023. I run a startup called Roadmap MBA. We are a social impact startup and we are here to try and make business education accessible to 5 billion people worldwide. It's our belief that you can actually make a huge difference in society to help improve social mobility and actually help people with their career prospects or just the success of their businesses through actually just sharing the world's best practice on everything around running and growing a business, from sales, strategy, marketing, management, leadership, finance, etc. But one of the big crucial things that we wanted to do is that we love education in all its forms. We love business education in kind of most of its forms. But the big thing was about accessibility. So it's the fact that traditionally, for a very long time, business education was always held behind really expensive paywalls, that unless you had tens of thousands of pounds to spend on a course, essentially good quality business information was held only generally for rich people. And actually, I kind of hate that. So one of the things that I was very keen to do is that with the launch of the roadmap, that anyone, anywhere in the world can gain completely free access to quality CPD certified business education and training. And the idea is that you can go on, and if you want to start a side hustle, start a business, launch your own thing, or even just get promoted in your career, you can use the roadmap as a way to quite literally give you the roadmap to go on that journey. That later on, should you choose to go and do a traditional MBA, which is a Master's in Business Administration, go for it, and I'm sure it'll be very successful and you'll really kind of enjoy it. But the truth is, for 97% of the world's population, they simply can't afford to access traditional forms of business education, which holds communities back, it holds people back. That basically that's the whole reason we exist. So we're looking not necessarily to compete with business schools themselves, but actually provide basically a good quality product similar to what Duolingo did for language and education. And basically make that accessible to 5 billion people worldwide. So most Friday mornings we do a live stream where we talk about interesting stuff in the week. I pick out various different topics which I kind of talk about. We broadcast on TikTok, but also on LinkedIn, Twitter. I haven't figured out how to do the new, what's it called, Threads app yet. We do Instagram, we do YouTube, Twitch, and quite a few others. And the idea is, again, is just to share insight and talk about some different topics that you might find interesting, you might not, and that's kind of cool. And then what we do with the course is that as well as the textbook, we have the app, we have the web portal and all the other kind of stuff as well. And essentially we do live classroom sessions 4 times a week where you can jump on, ask me questions, ask me about your business and how can you actually make an impact and implement certain things, or how do you tackle different things that you struggle with. And essentially that's one of the things that we offer that traditional universities and other providers don't, where they just broadcast information. With the roadmap, it's very much a two-way street. So as part of the live stream, if you get in touch and you write a comment, it should pop up on the screen, and I'd love to kind of bring it in and have a chat with you today. And then what I'm also going to do, I love to give a bit of an update on stuff that I've done within the startup and for myself in the past few weeks. Because all too common, you see people online that talk about how wonderful entrepreneurship and all the great stuff, but they never often talk about the challenges and the stuff that they go through. So that's something I try and do. It's quite cathartic for me just to kind of brain dump to the world, but it also hopefully helps some people that if when you go online, all you ever see is people celebrating how well they're doing, and maybe you're not having a great time at the moment, that can actually be really detrimental, because you think, well, why is everyone else doing well and not me? That actually that's part of the reason why every Friday morning I kind of come on and just do a brain dump and talk about stuff that I've done and what has worked, what hasn't worked, that kind of thing. This week I've been out and about on more events. So I did a Northeast Times event on yesterday morning, which was great. Really great to kind of see some people in person and really kind of catch up with people. It was something that I'd identified in the past that I'd kind of missed out on. I think with the pandemic, I'd stopped going to live events. I know everyone did. But actually, I knew it was an important part of the business to start doing that and networking in person again, so I've started to do that. And actually, in the past 2 weeks, I'm now on something called a Doha Accelerator, which is out of South Korea. And it's a startup accelerator predominantly for edtech businesses that want to have a social impact in the world. There are only 10 companies in the entire world that got accepted. Fortunately, we were one of them, which was great. We have formally started the program but we haven't started any of the sessions yet. But I will certainly keep you up to date and probably interview some of the people on the course and Patricia, and actually just share more of the story about what we're kind of up to today. So in terms of topics for today, I'm going to cover a few different things. One is about actually rediscovering your passion for what you do. I relate passion to happiness and purpose, which I'm going to kind of talk about. I'm going to talk about actually, has the prime bubble burst? So I'm sure you've all heard of KSI and Logan Paul and this energy drink Prime, which went bonkers over the past 5 years. And actually that's hit a bit of a roadblock. And actually the last one, which I'm going to talk about, is actually to do with, has the era of being innocent and proven guilty stopped? And I'm going to talk about why. And it's not to endorse any of the people involved, definitely not. But it's almost where the art or the court of public opinion seems to have navigated, and just people have forgot that we have a judicious process to, accuse people and get them the right to defend themselves as well. So I'm going to talk about that one. Okay, so first. So one of the topics that I wanted to talk about today is about rediscovering your passion. I'm hopefully quite a passionate person. I love doing this. I love trying to have a social impact in the world. And I feel I found my calling probably 3-4 years ago, largely around the roadmap, that it was fine to go through my career and try and earn money and do all the stuff that everyone else tries to do. But actually the idea of to try and make a lasting impact, almost a bit of a legacy to help other people, is actually kind of what gets me out of bed every day. The truth is, I don't always feel great every day. It's that balance of where you can easily get frustrated with so many different things. You might have setbacks, you might have clients not return your call, you could lose clients, you might not make any money for a while, you get frustrated, all of those kind of things. And it was almost, I wanted to talk about it to say that almost it is normal. That actually my first ever business was a photography business, and I love photography. Obviously this is heavily kind of camera and tech kind of based. But the truth is, after a while, I kind of lost the love for it because I'd almost commercialized and turned my passion into a business. That actually almost because of that, I lost the love for some of the craft. And truth be told, in the past probably 2 months, I think I kind of struggled a little bit with some of the roadmap stuff that we were looking to do and just some of the pressures and stuff that I had on board. And actually just trying to, get my life back into balance and, back on track was something that I've been working really hard on. And I think I'm now back on track. I think I've kind of cracked this. So something that I wanted to kind of talk about today. So the first thing is that we all get disheartened. Everyone in every job, every professional athlete, everyone at some point will get fed up or frustrated with what they do. That's perfectly normal. Arguably, if you don't ever get to that point, you're probably the exception. But the point is that setbacks are a part of everyday life. Arguably, it's one of the main parts of life, that our job is often to overcome kind of challenges. But my point is that it's normal, that if you're having a bit of a crappy time at the moment, almost just accept it, that it's not a problem, it's not even unusual, but actually just it's a process to go through. But it probably does mean it's probably an internal barrier or something which kind of flags to yourself that maybe something isn't quite right and you want to make a change. But the point is that's a really kind of normal process. In terms of things to do or things that I found to kind of rediscover your passion, the first one actually is, if you can, spend time with good people. I think one of the things that as a management consultant, I spend a lot of time running other people's businesses. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But often if you have too much time taken away from doing stuff that you love and you're doing stuff that you don't enjoy, that itself can actually become a problem where essentially you're not enjoying life at the moment. It's not that you've lost the passion for your passion project. It's just generally everything else is starting to get you down. But actually, if you can rediscover and spend more time with people that are passionate and people that love to do what you do, that can actually make a big difference. So for me, I had a meeting down in London. It was in the middle of June. And with some of this, I was starting to get frustrated, but actually just a good hour or two with some really good people actually kind of picked me up and got me excited again. And that was really kind of important. The next thing is actually to take the pressure off. For most of us, we have a job or we have a startup or we have a passion project. And we always want to be the next Google and take over the world and do all this great stuff. And we want it tomorrow. And we always put a massive amount of pressure on ourselves to actually deliver stuff mega quick. When the truth is, we don't have to. You can take as long as you humanly want to do stuff. That actually, as soon as you take the pressure off, and actually, you know, for me, I was always in Cubs and Scouts growing up, but there was a big thing about just do your best. Just do your best, see what happens. And actually, if things fail, they fail, but you know that you've given it your best shot. I think through actually taking that approach, it's actually helped me to almost take the pressure off what I'm doing. That I know internally I have good motivations for what I'm trying to do. But if it doesn't work, that's fine. And I will just pivot and change and do something else. But actually taking the pressure off actually has massively helped kind of what I do. Actually finding stuff that you really enjoy to do and do more of it, and finding stuff that you hate to do and do less of it. So for instance, I love to play basketball. I've really kind of rediscovered my love for the sport, and actually with the change in my 40th birthday, I now qualify for different masters and veterans leagues, and I have different goals to aim for. But actually that's really given me a fresh spark on life to actually start working on my fitness more and playing in different leagues and actually just upping my game. But actually doing more of something that I love seems to actually genuinely kind of be helping, which is good. And then likewise doing less of what I didn't enjoy. I had a lot of client work on that I wasn't really enjoying doing. It was just kind of taking me away from everything else. So I basically just stopped doing it. And the combination of all of these things combined with a very happy, healthy kind of home life seems to be working in just helping me redefine your passion. But the point is, it's okay to stop what you're doing if you're not enjoying it. It's okay to pivot. It's okay to change. There are no hard and set rules. And actually, as an entrepreneur, you essentially should look and see what works and what you enjoy. And if it stops working or you don't enjoy it, just change. There's absolutely nothing wrong in doing it. And if anything, a really good entrepreneur is happy to pivot, change, drop things and change their plan. And that's a perfectly normal part of life. But what I wanted to do was just talk for a few minutes about rediscovering your passion. I was there recently where almost I kind of stopped loving what I was doing. I understand why. It just I had a lot of pressure on my shoulders, a lot of kind of things going on. But actually, there are things you can do to help. And actually, just in the past kind of week or so, I've kind of realized that actually I'm a lot happier now than I was maybe a month ago. And actually, if that feels like you, there are things that you can do. My name's Steve Pugh. If you catch this on YouTube or any of the other kind of social platforms, please reach out and drop me a message. I'd love it if you kind of get in touch. You can check out Roadmap MBA on all the different channels, and we are a social impact startup here to make business education accessible to 5 billion people. Okay. So the next topic that I want to cover, and this is a topical one, but I'm almost doing it on purpose. In the UK, I'm just going to jump into the comment. Hi, Chris. Yes, and I appreciate that as Christopher Owens is a really fabulous photographer based in the northeast of England. It was that kind of thing, Chris, that almost it's easy to get disheartened, and I had a really good chat with some guys earlier in the week. That actually, I think my point was that we all go through it, and it's easy to do and easy to fall into, and you think, why am I doing this? Why am I killing myself? Why don't I just change? And the truth is you can. And it was something that I wanted to talk about, but genuinely I appreciate you getting in touch, top man. Okay. So the next topic that I wanted to talk about is a topical one, because it's a news story that was in the news this week here in the UK, but I think it's a common thing all over the world. And it's almost what happened to you are innocent until proven guilty. So I'm going to talk about the Hugh Edwards scandal, which is all over the media and BBC and stuff at the moment. And this is not about the particulars of that particular case. I'm not defending the guy. I don't really know enough about it. But one of the things that we've seen a lot in the media over the past few years, there was the Philip Schofield thing and a few others. We've got a really big problem in the world that actually, historically, you might get accused of a crime or doing something, but you had the chance to defend yourself and then have a jury or a judge look at the evidence and say, you are guilty, go to jail, or you're actually innocent, it was false, and then the person who makes the accusation is punished in some way, etc. One of the big things that we've seen a lot recently is that something will get leaked to a newspaper, or someone is accused of something, it goes viral, it goes everywhere, then by the court of public opinion, everyone jumps on it, they often get suspended or sacked, it can ruin their mental health, it can affect their marriage, it can affect all this different stuff. But it comes down to the key fact of, but they could be innocent. There are cases, and there will be cases where people are blatantly guilty, but there will also be cases where people are accused of things that aren't true, and it can ruin their marriage and ruin their career and cause a huge amount of impact and distress for a lot of people. And it was just on that basic concept. I think the world's gone mad where sometimes all of these things should remain private and within the standard public channels for law and order until we have an outcome, then it comes out. And it was, so with Hugh Edwards, according to his wife, was having some mental health challenges, which is completely understandable. But again, some really negative consequences can and do happen through being accused of something, especially if you feel that it's innocent enough or not true or whichever. And it was just something that happened this week, and I wanted to talk about it because it's almost where you feel that the world has gone mad in some ways. I have been spending a lot of time looking at society and almost looking at how the world seems to change. It goes in these cycles between, how we all act and view certain things and whichever, but it was almost where I couldn't not say anything because the whole point of having a channel and a platform is to talk about stuff that you're passionate about. And don't get me wrong, if he's done anything illegal or immoral or whichever, I understand how and why that should come out, but he should also get the chance to defend himself or not have it come public until he's found that he's actually guilty or done something. And it was a really quick one that I wanted to kind of talk about today, but it was just something that I wanted to mention because again, it can have really serious consequences that, again, it could be your brother, father, son, etc. It is often men that this falls into, and it was just something that I wanted to talk about. Okay. Cool, there we go. So for anyone watching, you might recognize these two guys or anyone on TikTok. So you have KSI and Logan Paul, two incredibly popular internet celebrities. They do various different shows and channels and they have tens of millions of followers. And actually I watched some of their stuff online and they seem like nice enough kind of guys. They're both young, they're smart, and they're basically hustling to make some money and, as you would do, trying to just, do the best they can with themselves. So back in, what date was it? About 4 years ago, they launched off the back of their celebrity something called a Prime energy drink, which is what they're drinking here. It went into a viral kind of craze. And what they essentially did is that through launching this brand, what they did was utilize their celebrity to basically make people want it. And basically in 2022, Coca-Cola acquired Prime for $10 billion because obviously they saw how popular this drink was. They saw how quickly it was growing. And actually these guys probably made a shit ton of money off it, and fair play to them, well done. All of that fast forward through, so Prime has been hailed as this marketing brilliant strategy of how these two guys, both brilliant marketers, have leveraged their celebrity, but also some of their other endorsements, like Logan does WWE wrestling, but also they're trying to partner with various Premier League football teams and UFC and lots of different stuff to basically promote this drink, make it cool with the kids and make people buy it. And they've been incredibly successful. But one of the big things which came out this week is basically the US Food Agency have actually found out, and they've done a test, that they argue that has the Prime energy drink been missold to customers, and actually it holds, apparently, was it up to the same amount of caffeine as 6 cans of Coke within one bottle. and that's full fat Coke, or 2 Red Bulls. So adults are more than happy to drink Red Bull if you want to, if you're on a night out and you want the energy boost. So people know that Red Bull is an energy drink, and they're generally a small can, and basically you drink it if you want that boost. You know, Red Bull say it gives you wings. That's the whole point. But what you have here is a drink which is predominantly aimed, it's not just aimed at children, but it's not specifically for adults, if that makes sense. But also that has twice the amount of caffeine in as a Red Bull or 6 cans of Coke. That actually, essentially, if you're getting kids to drink your drink, is that a risk to safety? And actually, you know, is it also addictive? Because essentially there's a reason why we generally don't give kids caffeine. But could you get them hooked on this incredibly, you know, well-marketed drink that actually goes into kind of, you know, it goes viral, but actually you're actually causing a lot of health issues at the moment. And because of that, essentially a lot of governments within Canada are the same, US are looking at it, but people will follow, is that has the prime bubble burst of that $10 billion investment from Coca-Cola into Prime, will that turn into a drink that actually can't be sold anymore in its current form because of its contents? Yes, what they'll probably do is change the formulation, etc. And people probably bought the drink because it was cool, not so much because of how it tasted or what went into it. But it was almost where they had marketed the drink as being vegan and 0 sugar. But whilst those might have been true, there was lots of other, you know, nasties in it as well. And, you know, in some ways for Logan Paul and KSI and their management team and whoever, they probably actually made a killing, cashed out on their investment and done very well from it, even if it later tanks and Coca-Cola kind of take the rap or take the financial hit. But it was almost, it shows how a lot of businesses that we see that become these great big viral hits that are classed as case studies on how you should do marketing and how you should do all this great stuff. That's still all true, but behind the scenes, there was certain stuff that actually just maybe didn't land as well as it could have. That what could happen, Prime could die off if every country in the world bans it within the next 6 months, or they might just learn to pivot and change. But what I thought was interesting was just, we all judge ourselves against these other companies, the ones in the public eye, and see how they do and grow and develop, because we want to copy some of the ways that they promote themselves and learn from it, and, you know, also celebrate people's good successes. But actually, arguably, are there some fundamental flaws behind the product itself, how it worked, and will it be a lasting brand, is one to watch as well. Okay, so hi Jess, good morning, good morning. At 9:23, I'm trying to think if there was other stuff that I wanted to talk about. So I've cut about rediscovering your passion. I think for me that was really important and something I wanted to talk about because it was very real to me. It still is very real to me, but actually I think a lot of people also have been struggling recently. Yeah, there was the Hugh Edwards thing about, it's not so much about him, but just when people get tried through the press, often it's not always fair, in my opinion. You know, people should have the right to almost defend themselves, which often never happens. And then likewise as well, this one that came out this week about Prime and different food agencies around the world starting to ban the drink that was valued and bought for $10 billion last year. I think that's a really interesting business kind of case study. So at 9:24, I think I'm going to call it quits there. Have a wonderful Friday. Good luck to anyone for whatever you're doing. We've got some new shows coming for En Route for Bashak, which I'm going to publish soon. Good luck with your personal learning and development. My name's Steve Pugh. If you want to check out Roadmap MBA, we are a social impact startup. We are in 56 different countries now. And essentially, we are here to make business education accessible to 5 billion people worldwide. If you want to do other programs, other courses, go ahead, you know, I'm sure you'll have a great time. But this is specifically designed for people from underrepresented and underprivileged backgrounds to help them grow, learn and develop, because often there aren't many other places to learn. And then what we do is live streams and podcasts and stuff like this, just as a bit of fun, just to kind of, you know, talk about some topical issues. Hi Adam, good morning. Hi, thanks Chris. Hi Jess. It's funny because I was talking to a lady called Chloe at the breakfast event yesterday, that when I do these live streams, I'm essentially stood in a room on my own in the northeast of England talking to a camera. And it can be quite tough actually, because you often don't get any interaction, but I do genuinely appreciate it when people get in touch. And then likewise, Jess, Adam, I know Chris has got a copy. If you ever want to get a copy in the Roadmap MBA, just get in touch and I'll send you a free copy as well. Just drop me a message. Cool. Well, have a wonderful rest of your Friday. Have a great weekend, and I will see you soon. All right, cheers, guys. Bye-bye.